one. I'm just trying to make sure that we get to those 5 goals, and then anything beyond that, if you have very specific questions or more general ones, you know, the floor is always open. Also, if you have learned a specific thing from your own background, feel free to share as well. Because I'm not the master at any point of this. I just have some experience that lends me to be in this position. But if you have more experience in one way, please feel free to share that as well. So going to rules of the road. I like to make this as much of a discussion as possible when I'm teaching kids. We usually open it up to the floor. So what are rules of the road that you should be following when you're out there biking? Any ideas?
Drive on.
Ride with track. Ride same direction as track.
Okay. And then what side of the lane will you be on?
The right.
Okay. So when will you go to the left-hand side?
Of the travel lane?
Mm-hmm.
You're about to take a turn.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you don't want to cut across everything. Whereas most of the time you can put yourself on the left-hand side. Cars will just go around you and then you can kind of take it on.
It's on, let's say we want to squeeze more to the curb, then you just do the opposite.
Okay. That's a good point. I like the shuffle. So we can practice that when we're out riding. What other signals are people using when they're biking?
Your hand signals, across left and right.
Okay. So what about stop signal?
I'll put my hand down like you're supposed to, Kelly.
Okay, so we can just all do that then. So if I am biking and I want to turn right, which arm? Yeah, right? Just kidding. Okay, so I'm going to point right, right to where I'm going. Some people like to just point out. Sometimes I'll just use my common sense and I'll just point to the ground too, in that direction. Like I want to go there. Same thing if I'm turning left, okay? So I can either point or I can point down. And for stopping, it's your right hand is going to be on the primary brake, and so that's the rear one. And so my right hand is stopping, and then my left hand is pointing down. So that's the customary stop signal. And this is especially important to make sure that people are aware of what your intentions are out there, especially if you've got 3 or 4 people behind you. Because you want to give people enough space, you don't want to be crowding either, and so these kind of signals will help other bicyclists, other people walking, or people driving as well understand what you want to get at. And then quick check, the Q actually stands for quick release levers. Do people know what that is?
Like the seat adjustment?
It's a seat adjustment, but some bikes actually have it.
Quick release like mine does.
Yeah.
So the wheel could come off and stuff?
Yeah. Like this right. However, I've raised my seat from experience and being more comfortable out there riding in the city. So I don't know if you can see this electrical tape, but it basically I've raised my saddle 3 inches over the time that I got it 4 or 5 years ago. And the reason I did that is now that I am comfortable out there riding, I don't have to when I'm standing here, or I can kind of just get my toe down in the seat. But if you want to be like the most efficient person out there on their bike, and some people do, you want to put your heel down on the pedal and then step up and then kind of just be able to sit down on your seat. So then when you put the balls of your feet over the pedal, you get kind of a little bit of a relaxed angle on your feet.
Mystical 30-degree thing.
Yeah, that's a thing, right?
That's a thing.
So that's kind of once you get into the more like techie riding thing. The biggest takeaway that I would recommend for bike fit, again, that fist over the crossbar or top of your frame. And then also when you're talking about saddle height, is if people want to put their foot completely down when they can sit, let them do that. You know, they'll soon be more comfortable, but in the first couple weeks, you don't want to push them too hard on that. Okay.
But, so do they have that quick release thing for the seat? Because we got different kids will probably be riding. Hopefully they come with
I'm not
the
sure.
quick release is almost standard on
Is it?
bikes nowadays. Like even the Benny's ones that we get for Christmas kids has the quick release on them.
At this point, we're kind of done with the overview of, you know, the rules of the road, ABC quick check, all the other stuff. So these are something that I would recommend you kind of go over in that first hour that you're with kids. You know also talk about how much biking is awesome. That's always helpful. I just knew that this group already assumed that, and I didn't have to, you know, spout for 10 minutes why biking is the coolest thing ever. With kids, get them riled up, get them fired up, get them excited. So what I'm going to do now is you've got your 10-minute break. I'm going to go out to one of the asphalt areas back there, and we're going to set up cones, and we're going to do some parking lot drills. That hopefully you'll remember the formation, you'll have cones you can access, or tennis balls rather, really anything like that, and then you can, so be watching and trying to remember as much as possible. Yeah, so I'll meet you out there in 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Well, what's bikers then?
Well, do it in the 7th grade, 4th to 8th grade.
Thank you.
We've got 2 tennis balls, but you can also use cones to kind of make a course. You want to make it round, kind of an oval. What I did is I just rode it a couple of times and made sure that the turning radius wasn't too tight, and so that I think people with at least a beginner to intermediate range of biking ability will be able to do it without really tightening up their stroke at the last moment and getting twitchy. So this whole on-bike skills course kind of thing, it's really to get people to be comfortable riding a bike without, you know, worrying about where a car is or where someone walking. So this is something that people can really just focus in on their own skills and develop it from there. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is called the pedal step mount, and this is all about starting and stopping. So the reason why we suggest having this one as the first one is so that we get students starting in a straight line. And so that's something called the pedal step mount. So for each of these rounds, what we're gonna do is just 2 laps, pretty much no matter what, just kind of one after another. So the first one, we're really gonna be focusing in on that first stroke downward and making sure that our beginning stroke, like I said, is in confidence and it's not wobbly. So I'll be rider 1, and then we can just kind of like keep a cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 laps, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to end there. And so what I invite each of you to do is then make that same kind of stopping motion so that we can keep in a nice train, so the transitions are a little bit smooth, okay? So when you're teaching kids, it's always really important to tell them what to do and what to do when they stop doing what the first thing that they are to do. So I like to make sure that there's no more than 8 kids to 1 instructor, because beyond that it gets kind of dicey. So what you want to do is you want to just make sure that kids have a starting and an end point and meeting goals. So right now our goal is the pedal step mount. So I'm going to talk my way through it, but I'm also going to demonstrate. So what I do to start is my front pedal is, I use my right foot to do so. And I make sure that it's about 3/4 of the way, so that when I start, I'm going down on my right hand, or my right foot, and then I'm placing my left foot at that same point, okay? Just to try and keep practicing this motion. So I'll demonstrate, I'll go 2 laps, and then the next person should just follow my lead, okay? We're good? So watch my feet, and sorry about the wind. I couldn't control that. Okay. So again, you want to go in between the tennis balls. Okay. So again, focusing on the pedal, step, and then mount. Okay. So from here, pedal, I'm stepping down, and then I'm mounting in my saddle. Okay. So I've got control. The course. That's why we're doing 2 laps to start. Okay, so I'm coming around one more time.